Hello everybody and welcome to Watch Me Go Broke. Now I missed a video last week because of the Texas storm that we had that knocked out the power grid in Texas. Kind of a weird deal there. I won't go too much into that, but I also had a big intro planned for this particular watch, but of course the storm put a little damper on that. I wasn't able to do it, but I didn't want to sit on this watch any longer. I wanted to get this review out for you guys to take a look at. So on my wrist today is going to be the Heimdallr Sea Shepherd. A very good reason why I'm wearing this today, and I will get into that later. And here is today's watch. This is the San Martin Water Ghost SN004-G, or the 6200. It goes by many different names, so when you're trying to look this up, it is a little bit difficult. But today we have a 38 millimeter case, a thickness of 13 millimeters, 20 millimeter lug width, tapering down to 16.5 at the clasp and back up to 18 at the clasp. It has a lug-to-lug of 45 millimeters. Now, it should be noted that the case size is listed as 38 millimeters, but this bezel does protrude out about a millimeter, and that is going to make it a 39. And I think you're going to want to stay to the end of this video because I do have a couple of issues with this watch. Not real deal breakers, but I think it's stuff that maybe other reviewers have not pointed out. So I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to take a look at that stuff. So we've got a ceramic bezel that is 120 click unidirectional. The action on it, really good, as par for the course for San Martin. I think they do a tremendous job with the bezels. It's kind of a plasticky sound. I don't know if it would have competed well in the first annual Bezel crank-off. If you have not seen that video, I suggest you check it out. But it is a very good action. I think it probably would have finished, third or so in that, I would surmise. You've got a beautiful domed, domed sapphire crystal that gives off a nice distortion. And that's something you would have seen with the watches of the time period that this is homaging. And of course, I'm talking about the very old Rolex Submariners from the 50s and 60s. This is sort of a recreation, I guess, if you will, of that particular style with the faux patina and everything. Those are sought after watches. I guess if you have $250,000, is that how you say that? $250,000? I don't think so. I don't think that's right. I think it's $275,000. Yes, that's how you say it. You could probably pick one of those up, but I guess very few people have that, so this is a nice little recreation that they have done. So looking at the dial, you have all printed indices today, which I, to be honest with you, am a huge fan of. I'm not a really big fan of applied indices, but they are filled with some C3 Superluminova, which we will take a look at in a minute. You've got very well done gold gilt style hands, Mercedes style hands with a lollipop second hand. That is, and another cool little factor that they've done with this is the lollipop second hand. The lollipop is actually slightly bigger than the indices, the hour markers. And that's really cool because that's what they did on those old Submariners. So it's a nice little touch that they have there. So as you can see, it is faux patina. Some guys like it, some guys don't. I'm not a particularly big fan of faux patina, although I think it is pretty well done here. Not entirely sure why they patinaed or made a faux patina of the bezel inserts, which is ceramic, if I forgot to mention. And the color actually matches the chapter ring on the inside and not the indices. I'm assuming they did that so the lume pip would stand out a little bit more. So looking at this bracelet is a rivet style bracelet. And as you can see, I've already started scratching it up pretty darn good, and I will explain that in just a minute. The clasp is a very nice fold over scissor clasp, very secure, double pushers, 4 micro adjustments, that are usable on this model. On version 1, they were not, but San Martin was able to correct that little issue that they had there. San Martin logo, take it or leave it, engraved very nicely in the case, the clasp back. A very nicely printed San Martin logo below the 12 o'clock marker. Now you can actually get whatever you want printed on this dial, which is really neat that San Martin does that, I guess, through their AliExpress store. Now, I didn't see an option to do that. I guess you have to message them, and then maybe they work out a deal where it's a little bit more money to do that. I almost did that, but this printing of the San Martin logo, I thought really, really looked good. And I don't know, putting like "Watch Me Go Broke" on there or something like that would just kind of probably look stupid, detract from the watch. And I'm glad they didn't use that monstrosity of an applied logo that they're putting on all their new Water Ghosts. I think that's a mistake. I don't think it looks as good as the printed text, but that is a beef for another day. You've got 200 M equals 660 feet. Automatic, so that is very much homaging the old Rolex style. The dial is, in photos, it appears black. It is not. It is gray, which I think is a nice touch. It's kind of a darker gray color. But I really like that because that's what you're going to get on some of those old patinaed, if it doesn't go to completely tropic, which is brown, it's not going to be quite as black. So that was a pretty nice touch there. The engraving on the bezel insert is really, really good. It's very, very deep, very high quality. Looks really, really good. If I can keep this thing in focus. And then, of course, the Lume pip. And you guys know that I am a very hard critiquer of Lume pips. And I think that Lume pip is absolutely brilliant. I think it is awesome looking. The color, the finishing on it, it is just really, really outstanding. And it doesn't sit so far out there that you're probably going to hack it off. I think that domed sapphire crystal there that protrudes out will actually protect that a little bit. So, but it is just beautiful in the C3 Super Luminova. And I guess, speaking of the Lume, let's have a look. Well, this Lume is really good. I wouldn't say that it's like quite up with what San Martin usually does when they use BGW9. That is a little bit more prominent. They put that on really, really thick. So you have that. So this is C3, but it still is great. It's very bright. It lasts through the night. It just looks fantastic. And I think it was a good choice because that again goes to the old, I guess, tritium style that you would have found on those old Submariners. They would have had that somewhat of that color glow, although much, much dimmer. So I think going with this was a pretty good choice. And looking at the case back, it is pretty much your standard style Submariner style case back. You got to be careful what you say. It's not a Submariner case back, it's Submariner style. But all in all, not too flashy. And I'm glad they didn't really put any extra oomph there. I don't think this watch really needs it. So what do I like about this watch? Well, obviously, I like the look of it. I think this faux patina is probably some of the best faux patina that I have seen. It doesn't detract from the watch at all. A little bit questionable about why they did it with the bezel insert, but I don't know. I think it works great. And the gold gilt style hands, those are the best I've seen in an homage watch, or really any watch that I've come across that's not something that's, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. It just looks amazing. I think it's super great. Love the size. It does not wear like a 38. If you read the description and you see, oh, it's 38 millimeters, some guys might think it's too small. That is not the case at all. It does wear, according to the measurements, as a 39, but to me this wears more like a 40. This watch does not come off as small to me at all. It comes off as the kind of a normal 5-digit sub-style case, which I think is really great. I've also found out that this watch is a pretty good strap monster, and I have been wearing it on a couple of different straps. A strap from Laurier that I showed you guys in a video recently, kind of an updated version of the Connery strap. And then during the winter tundra that we had, I decided, hey, I'm going to try the Omega NATO on it. And I did, and it looks absolutely fantastic. But again, that NATO works with any watch. So pick one up. If you can part with the money, it's the best NATO strap that you will find. So that's really cool about this watch. So let's get to what I don't like. And there's a couple of things that I think are... you can get past it, but it certainly is annoying. So the first one is going to be the bracelet. The bracelet, rivet style, as you can see, I've scratched it. And how did I do that? Well, the design of this rivet style bracelet is pretty ridiculous. In order to size it, you have two screws. You have a screw on this side and a screw on this side. But you have to use two screwdrivers at the same time and hold one side still while you're unscrewing the other side. That, to me, is extremely cumbersome. You can slip, which I've done clearly here several times. Let me actually get the link for you. So this is a link out of the this current San Martin watch there. And you can see that it is... a solid bar that goes through, but one screw is connected to the bar, so and that's like basically fused to the bar. And then you have the other side screw that is the world's tiniest screw, which I'll show you here right now. It's the world's tiniest screw. Extremely easy to lose. It flies off the table. You're pretty much, you're screwed at that point. So it's just I guess it's a minor gripe for some guys. I'm not overly coordinated. Maybe I had a little bit more of a difficult time. I also had a difficult time removing this bar because a couple of them were I guess warped or bent and they didn't want to come out. So that was a very big struggle that I had. Now, the reason I am wearing this Heimdallr Sea Shepherd on this strap code Miltat rivet style bracelet, and I'm going to show you the link on that one. So this is the link on that one, and what you can see that they've done is you have two separate sections. You have one screw here, they unscrew easily, and then they screw in. It's not a solid bar, but even if one of these screws were to back out, the watch would not fall off your wrist because you'd still have that other one screwed in there. I think this is a much better design. I think San Martin could look into it a little more about that design. And they do give you a lot of goodies with this watch. You got a couple of screwdrivers, so they do supply that. A nice spring bar tool. You got warranty cards. They throw in a NATO. All the bells and whistles, and a little bit of blue material, which I'm assuming is Loctite for this tiny screws that you have to use. I don't know. I just think it's too much for the average guy to go through without wrecking up the watch. Now, luckily, this is a vintage style watch, so any scratches will make it look, okay. And the second thing is the crown. It is a signed crown. It looks nice, but it is very hard to grip. And the reason is once this is screwed in, let me try to screw it back in here. There's almost no clearance between the bezel and that crown, making it very hard to grip. Your finger does scrape against the bezel, which is kind of cumbersome, and it's hard to do with gloves, but it's equally as hard when you're just using your bare hands. But so I think this crown needs to be a little bit thicker, this way, so you can grab it, make it a little bit easier to screw in. Now, there's been a couple of times where I have tried to screw this in, and I thought it was all the way down because it's very hard to grip, and it just, it wasn't screwed down. So you have to be careful. I think that's something that, needs to be addressed maybe in future models, maybe a little bit of a thicker crown. Maybe just go all in and do a big crown. That'd probably solve that problem right there. But again, this is an NH35 movement, pretty much the standard stuff that you would find in a San Martin watch. It does hack. It does hand wind, and there is a ghost date, which is totally fine with me. I don't care about that. But yeah, I mean, action, really good. Typical NH35, 21,600 vibrations. Vibrations, I can't talk. Vibrations per hour. And a 40-hour power reserve, so all good there. So, guys, there it is on my 7, and I'm just going to call it a 7.5. It was a 7.25, but I'm getting fatter for some reason. I don't know why. So we'll just call it a 7.5. It fits really well. I really like it. Lug to lug, short lug to lug, so it's going to wear pretty good for most size wrists. But yeah, guys, I think this is great. I'll leave a link in the description for the purchasing availability from AliExpress. I think you'll like this watch. There's the gripes that I have are minor, and a lot of guys don't even wear things on bracelets anymore anyway, so you can feel free to change that out with that nice spring bar tool that they provided. But yeah, that's all I've got today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Great watch, highly recommended. Couple of little gripes, but definitely not deal breakers. I'll see you next time.